Hello, Guardians, and welcome to Destiny Reset, episode 180. This show is about anything and everything related to the Destiny franchise. If you love Destiny 2 as much as we do, you're in the right place. This reset, we continue to celebrate Bungie Freedom Week as Luke Smith shows up in the TWAB to set the tone for the future of Destiny. We detail the 2.1.4 update incoming this month. And finally, we wonder what has happened to our drive to play Iron Banana. Hello, Guardians, and welcome. It's AER0KNIGHT and, of course, CyborgSasquatch. Hello, my friend.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing okay. Not bad.
Are you sure? It seems
It's
like
been a long week.
Man, we're
Definitely.
fighting colds, aren't we?
Yeah, we both are.
Our whole families.
Kind of just making it happen this week, just pushing through.
Yep. I think
okay,
since I had my sinus infection last week, my entire family has gotten something, but we're all, I think, kind of on the tail end of it. You guys seem kind of similar.
Yeah. Nobody's bedridden. Everybody's still functional, so.
Just wears you out, right?
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah, just long days. But hey, it's another day in paradise,
It is.
Count my blessings. Thankful that I don't have something worse than a cold, right?
I agree. Yes. And back here talking about Destiny together, of course.
Absolutely.
Always fun.
Yep. So, do we have any announcements this week? I don't know that we do. Nothing
I don't
crazy
think
going
so.
on this week.
No. Well, I'm sure we'll be having another giveaway here soon, but nothing
Yeah, we
crazy.
probably need to do one before the January's up.
Yes.
So we'll try to have one put together for you guys next show. How's that sound?
That sounds excellent.
That sounds like a plan.
I'm sitting here thinking, before we dive into the news, like, we went from no news to crazy news last week to this week. I don't even know how they could match last week.
Yeah.
Just craziness.
There's news. They're talking about just more of what we have to come and some comforting news, everybody, it's going to be okay.
It's all okay, guys.
But why don't we just
hands.
talk about it? So the news this week, we've got news. You ready for the news?
I'm ready.
This week at Bungie, we continue our journey. Before we dive into the weekly roundup of information about the game, we'd like to shed some more light on the future of the franchise. They write. And I guess it'd be easiest just to read this.
I think so.
This is from Destiny franchise director Luke Smith.
Hold up a second. Luke Smith? What?
Yeah, he's still alive.
It's been so long. They
just don't let him do interviews anymore.
We kind of thought he was working on larger iterations of the franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, Destiny franchise director, huh?
That's kind of a new-ish sounding job.
Yeah.
It may not be, but
Hey,
somebody's got to do it, right?
Yes. Happy to hear from him.
So I'll read this. Hey everyone, I wanted to share 3 things on behalf of the Destiny team today. First, our sincere thanks to the people of Activision who've helped bring Destiny to our players. High Moon Studios for their wonderful collaboration on Forsaken, and Vicarious Visions who helped establish a Destiny community on PC, worked with us on Warmind, and is currently readying their Destiny Swan Song with content that will appear in the upcoming season of Redacted. I didn't know, this is an aside, but I didn't know VV would be working on stuff for Season of the Shadow this far out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it sounds like they are. Next, in the short term, we're continuing to build the content we've promised for the annual pass. We've learned a lot from Black Armory that we will apply to future releases, most notably that we'd like the beginning experiences of content drops to be a better point of convergence for the player base. In Black Armory, we set the power requirement for the first forge too high, and that meant it wasn't a great chance to jump into some new content. We want to find the line between new content that many players can play and aspirational content for players to progress toward. we're exploring improvements to catch up mechanics for players in upcoming seasons. Last, long-term, Bungie is committed to Destiny. We created the universe and we hold its future entirely in our hands. The vast majority of the team is hard at work envisioning future experiences, enemies, and ways to play the Guardian you've been building since 2014. We're going to keep doing that. We're thinking about what it means to be truly independent, what it means to self-publish, and crucially, what Destiny's future can now look like for our players. It was a busy fall, and it's going to be a busy year. When I look ahead and think about Destiny and where it could go, I see a bright future with roots in a memorable past. Not everything has been lost in the dark corners of time. See you soon, Luke. That last line is
I know, I was going to say, before we even get into that.
Everybody's obsessing over that right now.
Mm-hmm, yep.
Is it an Easter egg, or is he talking about Vault?
Yeah, we might as well just talk about it first. I know, isn't that crazy? Like, everybody instantly, I mean, with the VOG reference and stuff like that. Of course, was he designed?
He was
lead on VOG?
I believe the Vaulted Glass.
It was, VOG and Taken King were his two main
but he did a lot of work specifically on Bog, like the raid.
It's very interesting. It's the phrase about just mentioning our Guardians, building our Guardians from 2014, and then that line about the VOG, the Dark Corners of Time reference. Like it seems very,
if you're a Destiny 2 Guardian and you didn't play Destiny 1, there's a line there. It was like I don't even remember not a tooltip, but it was like those little notations that come up on the bottom left of your screen that tell you what's going on in the game. And in the Vaulted Glass, which is Destiny 1's first raid, when you would hit a certain fail state on a certain boss, I believe, if I'm remembering this correctly, it would say you were lost in the dark corners of time or something like that. And of course, Atheon, the boss, was called Time's Conflux. It was all about time and etc. So he's either just being cheeky or dropping a hint at something.
Yeah, he could just be. I mean, he could just be Destiny like reference in there of something
being
he worked
stylistic on. Because it's Destiny talk, right?
Mm-hmm. Could be nothing.
Use a phrase that people understand and resonate with. So.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we should look too hard into that. I frankly would be surprised to see content that was Vaulted Glass related, but perhaps maybe we are getting a hint that there's a Vex expansion or Vex content incoming. That
maybe we'll visit a portion of something, or of course people instantly started going back to like old raids coming back, which would be cool, but we've been down that road, right?
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, we've talked about that several times at this point.
I would be very surprised at that, because the art and the way that it's basically built in Destiny 2 is more complex and different in Destiny 1. And so to bring over anything from Destiny 1, it basically has to be redrawn. All the models and textures have to be redone, and that's a lot of work. So I'd be surprised if we saw Destiny 1 content come back.
Yeah. It's just so weird right now, because it's cool to hear from Luke in this, of course, and everything. It seems like, well, we know what the rest of this year looks like. They've confirmed that nothing on the roadmap is going to change. But beyond that, it's just interesting to wonder, like, what will Destiny become? We always wonder about, the third iteration of the game. Will that happen now that Bungie's got full control? Will it just turn into a truly live game, MMO-like, where we don't see sequeled box releases, all these kind of things? So it makes you wonder, like the reference to our Guardian you've been building since 2014, it could be nothing, or it could be like some sort of just little hint to possibly the future. We know he's working on that stuff. We're pretty certain at this point. He's like working on stuff way down the road.
Yeah.
At this point. So I don't know, man. Who knows?
I think it's good though that they did have him or someone come and just say a few words about, their commitment to the franchise and kind of just, hey, here's the general vibe of like, we're focused on Destiny. We're committed to it long term. Like that's not changing. Like I feel like this is definitely them like understanding kind of the pulse of the conversation that people start to wonder about a lot of things when you feel like everything's up in the air, right?
Yeah.
Like, well, what does this mean? Like, are they going to do another 2 years and then that's it? Or are they going to keep doing it for a long time or et cetera, right? And I think this is them affirming like, hey, like we still love Destiny. We're still going to be doing Destiny. And most of us, that's what we're doing. And I think that's important.
Oh yeah.
To at least know those things. Yeah. Like
we've heard
our
hear from him here. We heard it in their initial announcement, and you're right. Yeah. That is a big deal.
But this is this is more clear, right? This is less PR and more like, hey guys, like,
yeah, like,
here's the word. Here's what's up, friends. Supporting
your favorite game,
So I appreciate that they did that, and I think having Luke do it was a smart move too. Not only because he's the franchise director, but because he's been around a long time. The players know him, have varying degrees of respect for him, depending on who you ask.
Well, and that's the thing about him too. It's been a while since we've heard from him, and the last was D2 launch, and anybody who, you see the comments and stuff, like anybody who just goes at him with the way vanilla D2 was, it's just like, come on guys, you can't be that out of touch with like the actual development cycle and who all would have been involved in maybe a particular version of the game you didn't like and stuff like that. So obviously we're somewhat past that point. Personally, it's nice to hear from him, and like you said, it's nice to hear these things, directly talked about, so that we can have a little bit of comfort in knowing the future of our favorite game. What I was going to say is I was pretty surprised, honestly, even more so, how specific he got with the Black Armory stuff. I was really expecting his stuff to be a little more broad, kind of like the other things we saw. And he talked all the way down to very specifically the transition from, the content we had, Forsaken into Black Armory. So kind of almost referencing like as a live game and annual pass kind of thing, how they'll be looking at it going forward, just kind of learning from their player base. So that was cool.
Yeah, and I think that was some great detailed feedback that they're providing as far as what their intentions are with some of their future stuff, and showing that they're listening and paying attention, and they can improve on some of these things. This was an interesting first experience or experiment in their annual pass content, so it's good to hear that they plan on doing a little bit better job of making things accessible up front, and allowing people at least a way to kind of catch up and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
It's funny. I was at GameStop actually last week, and or just this past week, and I was talking to one of the guys that work in there, and he plays Destiny, and he hadn't played really any of the Black Armory stuff, and he was under the impression, he thought it was limited time content, like he thought it would go away, and I was like, no, like I know it's super grindy and stuff, but you can go and do this whenever you want. It's just funny because not like you never know what people totally understand about.
You said this was when there's new things.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
When there's new things that are introduced in like new ways that Bungie delivers content, different things, like the messaging maybe just doesn't always make it to the people, or you don't know what people read and consume. Like we spend so much time just lapping up every piece of every word and line that Bungie and puts out on all their social media and all that stuff. So we just catch everything. But maybe the average player, like, man, they just need a news feed in the game. I'm just saying.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I was just talking about that this week. Actually, think it's my wife. I was chatting with her about it. It's just interesting, when I dive into a game, and I'll talk about a reset. I started playing Spider-Man this week, and obviously it's a different kind of game, more single player experience, of course. But I dive into everything, dude, and I look up stuff, even like what you need to know before you start playing Spider-Man videos and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
and all that kind of stuff. And then there's just so many different tiers of how people consume that kind of stuff. There's people who never touch, and we've talked about this before, people who never touch anything outside of the actual game. Then there's people gamers who will download a show like ours, and that's as far as they go, and they get their news that way. And then there's people who go to Reddit and they go to this and they search that and they do all these different things. And there's so many different tiers of that. And we try to like separate ourselves from that so we can inform our listeners and stuff. But it is really hard sometimes to do that because it's just hard to think of those angles, just like that GameStop employee. Like, we're just so tuned in to all the feeds. It really is, just like you've mentioned about how you do different things in the game and stuff like that. It's interesting just to be for a week a Guardian who only pops their disc in and plays. They don't do anything else outside of the game. Like you say, can you imagine, like you said, there's no news feed? We've talked about that before. It's just, it would be a totally different experience, man. Totally different.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
And I think they've done a better job, at least with some of the in-game stuff, like when the seasons first start, they'll have this graphic, right, that pops up like when you first log in. And those are good because sometimes it'll give like just a decent little synopsis of, hey, like new season, here's what's new, here's what's happening. And you can even like go and see a thing like that. If you go to the top right of the director, like there's always a little note about the season and stuff like that. But I just think it would be so great to have an in-game feed that just pulls from the Bungie.net news feed, and you could just open that stuff up in the game somehow,
Right. Yeah. And it is cool because it allows for the community to do a lot of different things outside the game. And those people who don't dive into that stuff are still having a great experience. It's interesting how people consume games differently. It really is. It's an interesting thing.
Well, next up in the TWAB, we had some updates or a preview to some of the sandbox updates, further sandbox updates we're going to see specifically with weapons. So designer Victor Anderson gave a rundown of some of these goals and specifics. Their goals with some weapons were to buff underutilized weapon archetypes, adjust hot button weapons in PvP, and avoid PvP adjustments that will negatively affect PvP efficacy. What a word. In summary, their design philosophy is to keep the sandbox feeling the same, but tune damage separately dependent on activity where it makes sense. So a preview of some of these things, with auto rifle archetypes, they're going to increase damage for rapid fire, adaptive, and high impact frames of auto rifles. They say, we find that auto rifles are a little unforgiving for the ranges they ask you to occupy in a world with special weapons. Next up, scout rifles, damage increase for lightweight and rapid fire frames, as well as an increase to all scout rifles in PvE. Next, sniper rifles. They're going to increase the damage on the rapid fire archetype to be able to kill in 2 body shots.
It's an interesting one.
Yeah.
I was hoping we were going to see the high impact ones could headshot, snipe, crit shot at a super. They mentioned that previously, but they don't mention it here.
Yeah, they have mentioned that before, huh?
Yep, but we'll see. Maybe it'll be in the next iteration of these previews.
Still in testing, huh? Why don't you tell us about some of these exotic weapon changes?
Yeah, dude, some of these were kind of random. You don't think about it if they're not being used as much. For example, Legend of Acreus, they say that increased the damage and bumped out the range slightly. Basically, they say in post-Forsaken World, where things are pretty powerful these days, Acreus just hasn't kind of lived up to the exotic that it once was, so they're going to bump it a bit. Telesto is an interesting one. Of course, you've probably heard a lot about Telesto.
Yeah.
PvP damage is being brought down to match standard fusion rifle charge rates. And then the optics was also increased to match fusion rifles with long-range scopes. Basically, they're kind of going to make it act a little bit more like a normal fusion, but with that, to combat kind of nerfing it a bit, they're going to slightly... Well, I think it's the optics. Yeah, they buffed the optics in return. So they're hoping that kind of balances out a little bit so that it doesn't feel like it's just not usable anymore in PvP. People love it right now, though, with those AoE stickies. It's just getting those multi-kills is the big thing. Yeah. So here's trace rifles. They're going to, which I thought they had already done this, but obviously not. They're increasing the minimum amount of ammo you can receive from special ammo boxes on trace rifles. This is like Wave Splitter, Cold Heart, Prometheus Lens, right? Is that the only three right now? Yeah. So they're doing that, so you get a little bit more ammo on those special ammo boxes. But I just did a live comm on this guy. This thing rips you apart. Wave Splitter. They're reducing the strength of Wave Splitter in PvP, period. That's just a sentence.
So what's because I'm an Xbox Guardian, what is the perk, or like what makes Wave Splitter unique from the other trace rifles?
Okay, so I actually have it pulled up. The exotic perk is Harmonic Laser. Laser damage has 3 power levels that oscillate while the trigger is held down. And then there's another one, Supercharged Battery. Collecting an orb of light grants a short period of maximum power that starts with an automatic reload. So that, I guess, starts the laser at maximum power if you slide into an orb and grab that. But I guess just the base exotic perk, the longer it's held down, the more damage you're doing. And dude, it really doesn't matter if you get crits or not. If you get crits, it's ridiculous. The thing just absolutely melts. Now, the challenge with that thing is it's a beam of a bullet, so it's kind of tricky. There's a little bit of you got to learn a little bit to use it. But once you do, dude, like you absolutely shred people. And it is crazy. When you're getting hit by it too. But there's just so much powerful stuff in the Crucible right now. Especially this particular weapon. It's PS4 exclusive, and the way exotics drop now, it's just not everywhere. But when someone has it and when someone's using it. But with that said, when they're making this ammo change, the thing about it is when you pick up an ammo brick, you only get 4 shots from it, I think, and that might even be with a auto rifle scavenger perk, at least one. So you start, if I remember right, you start with 50 in the mag on this thing, and you will go through that in no time. So you can't, getting 4 rounds on a kill is nothing. Like that won't do anything. So that is the one thing that was kind of keeping it down, just a hair. So you couldn't just spam the thing through an entire match. Well, now that they're increasing this ammo reserves, they're like, okay, I think it's time to take Wave Splitter down a notch. We can't be giving them even more ammo with this thing. So it makes sense. That thing is crazy, crazy powerful. We'll see how it feels after this. Hopefully it's still somewhat usable. It is weird though, man, in this world of Destiny we're in now, in the Crucible, back in the day, if something was broken, dude, like everyone used it. Of course, again, there's a couple factors with this, like I mentioned before, but nowadays there's so many different options and there's so many powerful things. It's still you don't see it everywhere. To get
those exotic weapons as well,
right? Yeah. So the player
there's some
pool that
guns
has
in the game still that are ridiculously overpowered. Like 1KV is ridiculous.
Yeah. Yep.
But they haven't touched it because there's not enough people to complain about it.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy. You just remember back in the day, and granted, some of those, quite a few more Guardians might have had their hands on them. But even like all the way back to Vex, dude. It was like, This thing's too powerful. But that was a different time, man. Yeah. Yep.
Totally. That one was. So if you're around in D2 when Prometheus Lens came out and that was broken in the Crucible, that's the level that Vex was broken.
Mm-hmm.
Almost even more so though. Like it
just seems like
pull the trigger, they're dead.
Toast. Yeah. And it sounded cool too. And you knew when you were getting shot by it. I didn't have it. It took me a while to get Vex to drop. But we are in a different world though, man, where we talked about this a couple different times. I think we just talked about it before going live. Like, they're definitely leaning on the power fantasy right now on the PvE side of the game quite a bit.
Yeah.
So they're definitely not nerfing things like they would have done in the past. So to see a nerf on Wave Splitter and stuff like that, like it's really got to be pretty potent, and it is. Like it's pretty darn potent. So that being said,
it's not a PlayStation exclusive if it doesn't get nerfed into oblivion before it makes
before you get it.
Yeah, there hasn't been one yet that has not been a shell of its former self before it made it to us.
Too funny. So. Well, that's the specific exotic stuff. They do say like this is kind of their first preview, that they're gonna hit us with some other previews, and they're looking at things like trace rifle damage in PvE, specifically submachine gun damage adjustments, which that's, submachine guns were hot in D2 year one, and you just don't see them a lot now. I mean, Antiope or Antiope, however we wanted to say it back in the day, like you don't see submachine guns too much right now in the Crucible.
Right.
And then they say shotgun adjustments. That's interesting. I wonder what they would want to touch my shotguns. I wonder what I of course always go to PvP.
Yeah.
Like I wonder what they would want to do with shotguns, maybe decrease the ammo count a little bit. I can't imagine they'd want to do anything on the PvE side. We've been there, done that. Like we like to have shotgun ammo in PvE.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Then they mention taking a holistic look at the heavy slot options and how much of an impact it has on loadout choices for PvE content.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
I don't know. It's almost like
what would they change?
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like they're saying they want your heavy slot to be important,
like more impactful.
Yeah, and more impactful.
Like I don't know if they're insinuating that it doesn't have enough impact or if it has too much impact.
No, that's true. They don't really say that. I just kind of naturally leaned on they want it to have a lot.
Because the thing is,
to be a big impact.
This might just be my experience. Nowadays, my heavy is the last important thing, unless I'm doing a raid specific activity or like a certain high-end thing where, okay, you want whisper for this, or but besides some really specific examples, you really can run anything now. And maybe that's the thing. Like maybe the problem is that your heavy doesn't have enough impact in PvE because of the variety and the other options in your primary and special. I don't know. I might just be totally on the wrong thought on
it's interesting too. I find myself, it's like Thunderlord. That thing's so powerful, dude. Like if I have an exotic slot open,
I'm usually trying to run machine guns, but that was the same. It was the same thing in Destiny 1. Like machine guns just have so much more utility and they're just more fun.
Yeah, even in the Crucible.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather have a machine gun than like the kind of punishing experience of trying to use rockets,
Right. Yeah.
Because rockets are okay, but if you miss one, that's a big loss of heavy ammo, and you have the risk of killing yourself. Like that's a big part of it. Like machine gun, I know I can't kill myself on accident.
Right.
And that's kind of important.
And there's a lot of different options too. I mean, there's swords out there that people aren't using and stuff like that. Yes. So maybe that's.
I'd really like for them to do something with swords, because in Destiny 1, probably the last couple of years, like my absolute favorite heavy or power weapons, whatever they're called, were swords. Like, I love getting up close, and I like playing aggressively, and swords allowed you to just sword stuff, slash stuff, stab stuff, you know?
Yep.
I just find it really fun.
Yep. I don't know, maybe that's what they mean. They want all these things to be viable, heavy options. I don't know.
Could be it. I know linear fusions get a ton of play. Linear fusions and machine guns seem to be the dominant choices right now.
Yeah, especially in Gambit.
Yeah, yeah. On the bright side, at least, machine guns have balanced out linear fusions a little bit.
Yeah. It's nice to have them back.
Yeah. So next up, they talk about some upcoming quality of life changes for the Black Armory forges. So here's a list of what they're planning that will come into effect. Ballistic logs will no longer be removed at reset. Stack limit for ballistic logs increased to 5 per character. Weapon frames carried across reset now refund into the following materials. Gold frames give you 1 ballistics log. Silver frames refunded into 3 modulus reports. Any instance of a radiant matrix will be removed on weekly reset. Players should stop experiencing the issue where frames are missing from Ada's inventory on a week-to-week basis. Players may still only purchase up to 2 gold frames per week. Drop rate for Black Armory lore increased from 10 to 20%, but now requires successful Forge ignition for a chance to drop. So you might have heard us talk about this last week. There's a way to passively farm that lore. If you go to the Gofanon Forge and drop your power to like 250 or something, it will give you a chance for it to drop if you just sit there in the activity AFK, because you didn't have to actually fully complete the forge for it to drop a piece of the lore. So you could just let it run for hours and come back and you'd have a bunch of them drop. So that will no longer be the case. So if you want to do that, you might want to do it this week. Otherwise, you'll just have to run a lot of forges to get the Black Armory paper lore pieces to drop.
Yeah, and the other thing I thought about too, we were talking with Anon last week. Of course, we talked about with him, you get cutscenes and stuff like that as you, well, at least as you get all the papers. It did make me wonder, does she change? I assume, because I heard a couple, like, just in passing dialogue with her after that, I think. I'm assuming she kind of changes her tone and view towards you, like, from then on, maybe, with her dialogue. I haven't
paid attention. I don't know.
You'd think so, but I don't know if they would do that or not. I thought that when I had seen some footage and stuff like that, but who knows, I guess. Because after you do some of these things, she's, especially like the Izanagi stuff, like you're helping her out more and more. So anyways, I don't know. I haven't done this yet myself. I'm hoping to do it, planning to do it here soon.
Yeah, you better do it this week.
If some of that changes, yeah. So anyways, we got into lore enough last week.
They mention this is not even the final form of our deployment. Check out the player support report for a list of known issues that will be addressed in update 2.1.4. So over in the player support report, they mentioned that they're making some changes over at the Bungie.net forums. If you spend any time over there, it seems like they're kind of streamlining some things, going to make it easier. I think the goal is partially for it to make it easier for people to find the conversation or topic that they would like to be involved in. I know personally, I've always had that problem when I've gone to the forums and I'm looking for something specific. I'm like, how do I find where I post like a support topic like that they've asked me to talk about?
Exactly the same, dude. As I was reading this, I'm like, I've been there many times and I don't really know where I want to go or need to go.
Yeah. So on January 22nd, They'll have kind of a streamline list of, I guess you'd call these like parent seed forum topics and stuff. So they'll have Destiny 2, and underneath they'll have feedback, gameplay, rewards, and lore. They'll have a Destiny 1, clan recruitment. They'll have companion, iOS, Android, and web. Then they'll have help, which will include all current player support subforums, and then off topic. That seems like a good little condensed list. Make it easier for you to find what you're looking for. So over in the player support report, they've got a list of some resolved issues that they're previewing. Part 1 that will come in 2.1.4. Some of these include Black Armory issues like lost radiant matrices, 8-1 missing weapon frames, problems with mysterious box keys, helping with the fastidious miser triumph, and on. Things they've mentioned before. My favorite is that the knife flip emote will loop indefinitely.
Yes. Yep.
So there's more to come. And then they've got, as usual, Season of the Forge vital information and known issues. Issues with the Black Armory key mold only being available on the first character it's received on. They're aware of that. Things with a couple triumph and some kind of problem with the Izanagi's Burden scope. Experiencing issues with Well of Radiance, with inertia override, and while invading in Gambit. It's very specific.
Yeah.
So, yeah, seems like this will shape up to be a pretty good size patch with a lot of little changes.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot going to be dumped into this one.
Over in the movies of the week, someone practiced throwing down hundreds of wells of radiance at once to see what would happen. It was kind of a cool
funny. So it's all about the music and the gameplay matchup too. It works well.
And then there's a Crucible montage called Minimalist. That's worth checking out. Then finally, they gave a little bit of a shout out to all the Guardians that work together solving the puzzles in Niobe Labs. They gave world's first to the Destiny community. They said, while a fire team executed the plan, we wanted to highlight that this was achieved by more than just 3 Guardians. We thank everyone in the community who lent their troubleshooting skills to help crack this code. Many shout outs to r/raid secrets over at Reddit were made, but we must also acknowledge those who engage with each other via social media. Whether you were on forums, tweeting, texting, or submitting your theories to stream chats, thank you for taking part in this experience. Written by Dimji this week. They had the old
Destiny community
Bungie pentathlon, I think on the, was it the 18th or the 19th this week? Yeah, 18th. We'd love to be a fly on a wall for that one year.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
If you're not familiar with Bungie, pentathlon is like their intercompany like games. They split up into teams and do all kinds of different competitions, and they always tweet about it and hear about it. I saw everything from D&D to dodgeball to Rainbow Six to everything in between. It's kind of cool.
I don't know, where do they do all this in their studio?
Yeah, I think so.
Dodgeball and stuff.
Maybe they do it somewhere else. I don't know. I think
it was
they
weird
do it at the
because
studio, though.
When we were there for the summit, like we saw a total of like 3 hallways and 2 rooms. That was it.
They have a big studio.
Yeah, and they have 2 different locations, don't they?
Now they do. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
That's a recent thing.
Yeah.
They have something like, I think they have a new space like across the little street or way from their current building.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to get a full tour of that, but they they did not have the right crew for that because they would have had eyes looking everywhere.
Oh, yeah, they're smart enough not to do that. There was also a community focus this week on a a developer who goes by Lowlines. I think I've talked about his products on the show before, but Lowlines does a pretty awesome, he has a pretty awesome web app, if you would call it that. It's at lowlidev.com.au. And my favorite thing about it is that it's got a map that connects to the Bungie API, and you can use it especially for like collectibles and things, and it will show you on the map where the ones are and what you have and what you don't, and you can click it and it'll even give you a little link to a YouTube video to go find it. So nice. Helpful.
Yeah.
And this is an Aussie Guardian, and he's done some pretty cool work. So I would go check out his website. It's extremely helpful. He also mentioned another site that he hasn't done, but I wasn't familiar with. Another community developer put together called braytech.org. And I went and checked that out. And this site is awesome, man. It's got a checklist feature that will give you a checklist for pretty much every collectible in the game.
Oh, wow.
And so it'll tell you what you have and what you don't have, and it will show you, it'll give you like an idea of where it is. Like it'll say, okay, it's, like for instance, the first like thing is like region chests. So it'll have it like checked off if you have it, and if you don't, it'll be like Resilvia in the Dreaming City. And then it'll have a little link that will then go open the map over at Lowline's site, and it will immediately pull up that particular item that will then, you can then go and click and get the video and go find it. Like, it's the best set of tools ever if you're into the like collections and finding just pretty much anything. Yeah, I haven't used that. You can use it for the corrupted eggs. You can use it for the cat statues, sleeper nodes, you name it. Like, it's got everything in there. It's really awesome. And then it's also got, on the Braytech site, it's got, triumphs, a triumph section for you to help look through triumphs and track what you've got. It's got, an account section that just kind of basically charts like all different types of, parts of the game. Like, what are your strike high scores? What seals do you have? What triumphs are you almost complete with? And just all kinds of stuff. Like, what's your, quick play and competitive and gambit rankings, and just kind of puts everything together. You can explore your collections in it. Wow. You can look at what the reset activities are for the week, and it'll show you what you've completed on what characters. I mean, it's like everything, dude. Like, this is the most comprehensive tool I've ever seen to put all this stuff, and it looks really good. So, braytech.org and lowlidev.com.au. Go bookmark those, and they'll be hugely helpful. And shout out to Lowlines, and then the other developer. Man, what is the other developer that did braytech.org? I'm gonna look it up real quick so I can give him credit. I followed him on Twitter. One moment, please.
Please hold. One moment.
Holding.
Gotta give credit. Credit is due. Right, Guardian?
That's right. Tom Chapman, and his Twitter is just real milk.
There you go.
There you go. So shout out to these two guys. Gotta love the community developers that make stuff like this, and like, man, you make it so easy.
Oh yeah, dude, it's crazy
for me to collect stuff in the game. Like, it's just literally handed to me.
Yeah, it's awesome. All the way down to, like you had mentioned, the linking to YouTube videos and stuff. Like, I found channels when I was hunting the nodes on Mars, like, that were just anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute and a half long of just videos showing you exactly where to go to get a certain node.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I got to give a shout out as well to Dado for his videos. His Corrupted Eggs video is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, he does the best walkthrough, like, collections or find, like,
well, there's no
how you
fluff.
Find all these things. And
yeah,
it's always
there's
easy
no
to
fluff,
understand.
and it doesn't seem like he cares about, like, the YouTube backend. Like, I think just this week he released the Black Armory emblems all the way down to, like, this last one that you can get, and it's like 6 or 7 minutes long, and he just powers through it. Like, all you need to know, super quick, knows you can rewind if you need to, and here you go.
Yeah, I love his guides. They're super helpful. Anyways, that's all my shout outs this week.
You've hit your limit.
Yeah,
no, there's no limit. No limit. Well, that all the news this week?
I think so, man.
No other crazy business stuff going on, I don't think.
Nope. Not that I've heard.
Crazy. Take a nice little breather this reset.
So, how was your reset, Arrow?
Oh, dude, man. It's been pretty darn good. I actually, we were just talking before we went live, like, what have we done since last Saturday? We're recording on Saturday again. I did hit 650. I don't think I had hit 650 yet last week. I can't remember for sure. Really need to start keeping notations of this. I needed a helmet again, and I got a helmet to hit 650. Maybe I said that last reset. But once I hit that, man, it was kind of like hitting 600 again. I just immediately, I mean, I already have, like, a to-do list. I still need to finish Malfeasance. There's stuff like that. I still don't have the Wish Ender. But I kind of powered through about half of the Izanagi quest, and I got to the Shattered Throne part, but I was fighting a cold and stuff like that, and I didn't end up hopping on Monday night before reset to do the Shattered Throne part. So now I guess I have to wait for that to come back up to finish that part, correct? Yeah, they've acknowledged that, as in possibly having it come up more, but that's not what they've said. They just said they've acknowledged that you have to wait for that quest, but it is what it is. I'll wait. So I got
so
up to that point.
Things,
in
Destiny now.
Yeah,
stinks.
But so yeah, then I've been working on some Crucible loadouts and stuff. Threw up a couple live coms on my channel. Been using Wave Splitter a little bit because I got it and hadn't been using it a whole lot just to see how brutal it is, and then just messing around with some stuff, kind of trying to make some time for comp. Still haven't jumped in a ton. I did also buy Spider-Man this past week. I think this last week, dude. And I have Tomb Raider sitting here.
Great things about that.
I know, dude. I have Tomb Raider sitting here. I have God of War sitting here. And then I'm like, I don't know why. It's probably, actually, I do know why, probably. We've been watching The Flash. We finally started watching The Flash.
Okay.
And I've been kind of like in the superhero mode. So I'm not even, I do like Spider-Man. I mean, my favorite superhero, if you will, gadgety, is Batman. But I like all the superheroes. I mean, come on. So bought Spider-Man, and I just really was feeling this drive to play it. So I did, kind of some usual reset stuff, and it's so hard to put in another game, dude, because there's always something that you're working on in Destiny. I've still got Loaded Question that I'm kind of grinding after, but I popped in Spider-Man, I think it was yesterday, and played a little bit the past couple days, and dude, it is so fun. Like, Insomniac, and I've seen this everywhere and people enjoying it and this and that, but wow, did they hit the mark with how to make people feel like Spider-Man in a video game. Like, all the way down to as soon as you start, like, slinging through the city, man, the music plays. Like, as soon as you jump off a building and shoot some web at a building and start gliding, swinging through the city, the epic Spider-Man music starts to play, and it just feels so cool, dude. Before you know it, like a little crime thing pops up on your radar and you need to go down and stop someone from robbing a bank or mugging somebody or stealing a car, which you take down like in full motion, cinematic motion with a couple little quick time events. So I don't know, dude. I think I'm gonna play some Spider-Man quite a bit. I think I might actually try to play it through to the end and not let those Destiny callings. I'll still be playing Destiny, don't get me wrong, but when I'm actually playing Spider-Man, I'm going to try and not let myself say, hey, dude, like, you could be running some strikes, finishing your loaded question quest. It's so hard to do, and I do enjoy playing Destiny. You know, it's not like I feel like it's a job or anything, but, dude, I don't know. Have you played Spider-Man at all? It's
no,
really fun.
no,
it's really cool.
I keep having people tell me I need to get it, but I haven't yet.
It's fun, man. Like
I'm still playing
I'll
Red
report
Dead.
on it more, but yeah. See, I started Red Dead too, man, but I'm going to try to play these single player experiences I have and just knock them out one by one. No matter how long it takes, because sometimes it's a time frame that'll discourage you. It's like, how can I ever complete something like Red Dead? But it's like, who cares? Just do your Destiny thing, and then if you feel like it one night, just throw Red Dead in, and you beat it when you beat it. You know, like
pretty much.
No rush.
Like it's sometimes you're like, man, I can never it'll take forever. Okay, whatever. Like, just play a game on the side, and I'm gonna kind of knock out one at a time. I'll probably not once I feel like I've finished Red Dead, I'll probably try to pick up something more compact to play. Yeah,
that's a nice thing about Spider-Man. I've heard the campaign, like the main campaign, is like 15 to 20 hours. Of course, there's all kinds of side stuff you can do, but that's, if you want to do it. It's definitely more compact. It's still open world and stuff like that, but it's definitely more compact than something like Red Dead. So that kind of helps a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I've got 100 hours in Red Dead. Like, I love that game so much, and I'd never want it to end. Yeah, you haven't reported
on that game in a little bit.
Oh my gosh, I'm so in love with that game, and I've done all kinds of stuff, but there's a ton more I can do. Just as far as completing different all the legendary hunts and fishing that you can do, and
I love that aspect. Yeah,
collecting exotic material. There's just all this kind of more video gamey lists of tasks of things to do, but in Red Dead I find them really fun to do. Like they all are each still have their own interesting take on them. They're never totally fetch questy.
Yeah, and I love those games where you can just totally just dive into the world, get on a canoe and go fishing. You know what I mean? Like, you just fully immerse yourself into the world. That's cool. Yeah.
So, cool. I actually, really for the past probably week and a half, maybe even 2 weeks, I didn't play. I put down Red Dead a bit because I'd say the week of Full Curse week, I had a ton of stuff that I wanted to do, so I totally put it down. I just picked it up last night for the first time about 10 days, and I was like, oh man, now I'm sucked back in again. So I've mostly been playing Destiny the past 2 weeks, and I turned around my bad luck in a big way last reset, and this reset as well. I got a bunch of great guns. This reset on Tuesday, needed, the only thing I needed for Cursebreaker was the Sparrow, I believe, or was it the ship? No, it was the ship, the Dreaming City ship, I think. Let me think. No, so I got the ship last reset from Shattered Throne on my second run through, I think. So I was happy about that. And I just needed the Sparrow, which drops from the Dreaming City missions. And I didn't get it last week, but then the first Dreaming City mission I did this week, it dropped. And that got me Cursebreaker. So I was pretty happy about that. Because those were really eluding me. And over on the Gambit side, I can't remember if I brought it up, but I finally got the ship to drop from the meatball last
Very
reset.
cool.
So I literally am one invader kill away from dredging. One invader kill. And the funniest thing is I keep going in, just, doing a few games, just trying to get that scenario to happen.
Yeah.
Because nobody comes in and uses their dang supers, or if they do, it's like Blade Barrage, and there's no way you can kill them.
No
Unless
way.
you, maybe I need to swap to like Goldie on the Hunter and try to do it that way or something. I don't know.
It does seem like way less now. People don't feel like they need to use that tactic to get invader kills.
Yeah, they just come in with Queensbreaker or something.
Yeah.
But it was funny because I was playing the other night late with one of my friends, and people keep telling me, they're like, just message the other team and tell them. I'm like, I don't want to do it that way, but I finally was like, all right, because this one team were spanking us because we just went in 2 of us and our teammates were not doing a great job. So we were just getting totally destroyed. So I messaged the other team and I was like, hey, one of you guys invade with your super. And they didn't say anything, but then like a minute later, one of them invades and I hear him and he pops Goldie, right? And I'm probably like 10 yards away. So I'm like, oh my gosh, he's doing it. So I pop my hammers and he looks at me and he goes, blows me away. I'm like, no, I thought you were going to help. Like they totally trolled me, dude.
Darn
Either
it.
they trolled me or they're just like, okay, I'll come in and kill you,
Yeah.
Like,
Dang. That stinks.
it was a no-go. So I just got to get back in there. It's just as frustrating. So I haven't been grinding it too hard. Like I know I get it eventually, but
eventually,
it's just totally luck, and there's been a couple scenarios where, people did invade with their supers and I couldn't get a shot at them. Like I couldn't even find them. There was one where like there was a Titan and I was like just dumping a clip or something and I killed him half a second after his super ended. That's happened twice.
Oh.
It's difficult to kill people in their supers when they invade because not only are they in their super and have more health, but they have an overshield as well.
Yeah.
So it's tricky. They got to have a roaming super and it's got to last, and you got to live long enough with the right thing. It's just such a specific thing, man. I don't know. Yep.
Yeah, I think I had to have to look. I was kind of looking through the titles again the other day. I think I've got like, what do you have to have, 10 total?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I have like 5 or 6. Just in
that's great. If you got 5 or 6, you're a lot of the way there.
At least have a head start if I want to pursue that title.
So I'm right on the cusp there, and we've been working on Last Wish still. Did a bunch of runs with different things that we need to do for some of those triumphs. So all I have left for Ribbon's Bane is I need 1 KV. I need the Sparrow to drop from Morgith or somewhere else, wherever it wants to drop. Yeah. And then we've got to do a Petra's run. And I've got to do, I think, the Coliseum challenge, which I think is the Shirochi. So I've just got a handful of things there that we're going to work on. This one's going to take a little longer because that Petra's run is going to be tricky.
Yeah.
We're starting
I didn't realize you were that close to Ribbon's Bay.
I'm getting there, man. I've been chipping away at these.
Very cool.
Yeah. So, but I just can't get 1K voices to drop, man.
Yeah, still no. That's crazy. That is definitely like the old Mythicast days.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Playing it over and over again.
Pretty much.
Atheon checkpoint.
Yep. Yep. So that's what I've been kind of doing this week.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I've still been doing the Destiny thing. I've been diving into the lore still, too. I kind of want to really dive into the Drifter. Kind of been looking up some stuff and getting into the Drifter lore, of course, with the next season coming up, all about him. And, just still doing the normal Destiny thing, fitting in some games on the side, like we said. The either the Battle Royale games or single-player games are excellent to play alongside Destiny because they're not really investment kind of games. You can play, just jump in and play Battle Royale, or jump into your single-player experience and kind of do what you want as long as you want. Yeah, so I'm really gonna try and start chipping away at some of these backlog single player games while I do this Destiny stuff. I forgot to mention I have grinded I grinded a ton of the hand cannon last week, and then once again the pulse rifle this week. I finally got, because the first one I got was Zen Moment and Rampage on the Blast Furnace, and that's excellent roll. It's good for PvP. It's really good too for PvE. But I'm like, I want that kill clip, Feeding Frenzy kill clip, and I've gotten several kill clips to drop, dude. But the best kill clip one I have is Quick Draw and Kill Clip, which I'll take. But then I got one the other day, Feeding Frenzy and Rampage, dude. And I'm like, yeah, it's a solid roll, but come on.
Just put a Rampage mod on it, dude.
Yeah, I know.
That'd be awesome.
But it's that you got to get those stacks of Rampage and PvP, man. Like,
yeah.
I even got a stability mask to work on that one. It's like, come on. It's so close. It's so close. I've been farming those forges, man, specifically for the hand cannon and the blast furnace. Those are the two I'm still working on. And I've not gotten. I picked up the hammerhead frame this week, the heavy machine gun, to try to get another one of those. But I'm really only doing it because I still haven't gotten Le Monarch or Jotun to drop. I cannot get those exotics to drop for me, dude. I don't know what the deal is.
Man, you get them. I think I mentioned
want
last
the bow
week
so bad
that I got Jotun to drop. I think I brought it up. And man, I've been playing with that the past week. That's got to be one of my favorite guns right now. It's
You're
so
playing
cool.
PvE?
Yeah, PvE.
It destroys in PvP too.
Yeah, using it, and I tried it out in PvP. I tried it out in Gambit. It's really fun to invade with in Gambit.
Oh, nice.
It's basically like a tracking rocket with a fireball. You know, it almost reminds me of man. What was I just thought about this. What was the exotic rocket launcher in Destiny that would drop a fireball? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
That? Yeah, I think so.
Man,
I can't help but always think of Truth. Hammerhead. Was it Hammerhead?
I think it was.
No.
I think it was
No, that was a
Hothead
heavy
or
machine
something.
gun. Was it Hothead? It had the Hammerhead's a heavy machine gun now.
Yeah.
The did it have the like shark, the teeth?
Yeah.
What was that, dude?
Oh my
can't
gosh, I
remember.
haven't thought about that gun in so long.
Yeah, because they ended up making it have straight up napalm that dropped.
Yeah,
from
they made
it.
it was not great, and then they made it awesome. And I remember playing with it a lot after they changed it. But anyways, it reminds me a lot of that because it's shooting this almost rocket-like projectile that tracks, and so it has impact damage, and then it drops, like that napalm, like it drops a little solar debuff, like grenade, where it lands and further damages stuff. So it's a
Dragon's
ton of fun,
Breath.
man. Oh yeah, that's what it was. Dragon's
I had to
Breath.
look it up.
I think Hothead was a Crucible rocket launcher.
Yeah, it was.
I
remember that one
from
now.
a quest.
Yep.
But yeah, man, dude, you got to get that gun. It's so fun just for everything, and you get a ton of ammo. Like the amount of ammo you get for it. Yeah, I expect when more people get it, they're gonna adjust how much ammo it can carry.
Think so, yeah.
I think it's overpowered.
I'm hoping I want both, but I'm hoping the bow drops for me because I really want to start using bows in the Crucible again. And it's like, I've kind of told myself, like, I'm going to wait till I get that.
Yeah.
But I every week I do those frames. I'm waiting to get one. We'll see. I don't even go to Berguzia because I want that fusion, but I don't. Like, I want the bow first, so I go to Gofanon or wherever because I don't want to get it from Berguzia as my exotic drop, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I gotcha.
As far as I know, that's the only place I've seen that it drops from. I haven't seen reports that you get Jotun or Jotun from the other forges.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
So far, I've only seen Berguzia, so I don't even go there when I have a frame, ballistics frame.
Yeah.
Anyways,
well,
that's my reset.
Yep. I'm interested. We almost forgot to bring it up. Iron Banner was this reset.
Yes.
And we talked about that for a second before the show. It's I didn't touch it at all, and none of my friends did. It's almost sad at this point. Like I know there's people playing it. There's definitely, I see people on Twitter, and I have some friends on my friends list that I saw playing it, but like nobody I know is playing it. And it used to be back in the day, everybody played Iron Banner when it came up. Like,
yeah.
And
it's weird, man. It's weird. We were talking before the show, like, I want to play it, and I like Iron Banner, and I love the theme of it and stuff like that, but I just don't, even when I was doing the power grind, like I don't feel any motivation to go in there, and it's weird because you don't necessarily need it. It's just fun, 6v6, team play, just go in and have a good time. I don't know what it is. I just don't have any drive to go into Iron Banner right now. I don't know if it's because I have too much to do on the other side of the game, or if I'm going to play Crucible, I'm going to play comp for me in particular. But
you just, like, as you were saying that, I started thinking about it because, it used to be, we had all our different Crucible playlists, right? Which were basically like the quick play of Destiny. And then we had trials, but that was only in the weekends, right? So Iron Banner was cool because you got a semi like blend of a competitive and a more relaxed, like Iron Banner's always kind of been a mix of like casuals and hardcore, right? And so if you wanted a little bit of competitive in the rest of your week, Iron Banner was an awesome way to do it because you couldn't always play trials, right?
Right, yeah.
But now, if you want that, like, you can just load up comp anytime you want, and you can get that experience, and you can sweat.
It is weird too because weapons go a long way too. That one, I think it was 2 Iron Banners ago when we had the crazy rolled pulse, and there was one, I think, the sniper rifle. I grinded it out. I wanted those, and there's actually a pretty hefty rolled sniper rifle this reset. But I don't know what it is, man. Like, weapons will get me in there, but they got to be at this point pretty potent, like some pretty crazy rolls with everything else we have now. So I don't know what magic it's missing. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's weird. Something.
I don't know, man.
You guys let us know. Did you play Iron Banner? And if you didn't, why are you not playing Iron Banner right now?
Yeah.
At Destiny Reset. We want to know.
What do you think about Iron Banner? What needs to happen? Why aren't you playing? Why are you playing?
Why are you? Yeah, if you are.
Why are you playing that game? Oh. Yep. So, yeah, that was a reset. Do we have any discourse that we can cover this week?
Man, we need we need to challenge the community, I think. We do have a couple questions that we're kind of sitting on because we want to do a little bit of research on them. So we haven't forgotten about you Guardians, but I don't know, man. We need some fun topics for you guys to send us. We know you're thinking on some things. Challenge them, Cyborg. You're good at doing that.
All right. I would love to hear what your one wish for an Activision-free Bungie is.
Ooh.
So,
oh boy.
To keep it realistic, we've all heard dedicated servers, cross-play, cross-save. I know we all would love to see lots of those things, but I'm looking for a little bit deeper. What do you want to see out of Destiny in the future now that Bungie totally has the reins? Would you like to see it be more PvP oriented or more RPG? Would you like to see them take more time on the releases, or would you want them to move to a free-to-play model? I don't know. Get imaginative and tell us why. Send us your emails.
I want to throw in there, would you be okay down the road paying a monthly subscription. For
yeah,
Destiny.
that's another idea.
Anyways,
so give us your thoughts. I think that a lot of people are talking about, the future of Destiny and what they'd like to see Bungie do. And so we'd love to hear your thoughts. So send us an email, destinyresetpodcast@gmail.com, or a speak pipe, which is like a voicemail. You can get up to 90 seconds. Speakpipe.com/destinyreset.
There you have it.
Give us your discourse.
Do it, Guardians.
Do it.
Send us your stuff. New year, new topics, or just, as always, email us your shout-outs and/or any random topics you want us to talk about.
Yep.
Anything's welcome.
Yep.
Even if it's potato chips.
Oh, we love talking chips now.
We'll talk about it. I got some this week. I haven't had them in a while. Kiddos love them. It cracks me up. Open pit barbecue chips. Have you ever had those?
No, I've never heard of that.
I forget if they're Ruffles. They're like the Ruffly whatever wavy. I don't know if it's
like
actually that brand though. Yeah,
ruffled
but they're
texture.
Open pit, dude. They're so good. Like they're so strong. It is literally like you just took them out of the bottom of like a barbecue grill or something.
Oh wow,
they're
That's
super
funny.
strong. They're not hot or anything. They're just super potent.
They just
super
have like
strong.
that mesquite
yes
flavor to
Yep.
them.
They're good.
I like that in barbecue chips. Like I like when they're like really barbecue-y.
Knock you down on the first couple chips.
Yeah.
So
it makes them good.
Anyways, tangent. Send us your chip emails, Guardians.
Yep, chip talk.
And then, well,
Dirt Fam patrons. Do we have any new patrons?
we do. We actually have several. We're going to be messaging you guys this week to get your gamer tag, but we did have a gamer tag already. Let's see if we can not mess this up. J Quig J, I think is what we decided
As close
on.
as we can get. Yeah.
From your guidance as well, Guardian. Thank you so much for supporting us and for the message and the kind words.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah, if you don't know what a patron is, go to patreon.com/Destiny Reset, where for as little as $1 a month, you can support the production budget of our show. If you do so, you get a few perks. You get a shout out on the show. You get your gamer tag posted on our website and an invitation to a Discord channel just for our patrons and supporters. If you have become a patron and we haven't given you a shout out, go check your Patreon messages because we would like to have your gamer tag, because when you sign up, it gives us your first and last, and we don't use those on Destiny Reset.
We just
use your
assume you
handle.
don't want us to.
Yep, we don't want to dox you. So we got a few new ones that we'd love to give a shout out to. Please go give us your gamer tag if you would. And beyond that, thanks to all of our continued patrons. I mean, there's some of you who have been given for a long time, and we really appreciate that support.
Yes, we do. There are some. You're right. Been given for a long time. That list has gotten super long on our website. Very cool.
Absolutely.
Great stuff.
All right, man.
Well, yeah. Another week, another reset. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to play more Spider-Man tonight or try to knock some Destiny to-dos out.
Yeah, I find myself playing a lot, like heavy Destiny during the week, and then I'll pick one or two weekend nights where I'll pick up like another game, play a
Zone
couple
out, play
hours
something
on
else.
like Red Dead or
Yeah,
stuff like that. Tends to be the case lately.
I feel you.
Yeah, Weekend Warriors.
There you go.
Well, where can people find you, Arrow?
You guys can find me, of course, on Twitter and YouTube, primarily AER0KNIGHT with a 0. Been posting some stuff on my YouTube channel, of course, and all the other social media places. What about you, man?
There you go. You can find me at CyborgSasquatch on Twitter and Mixer. Finally, you can find us at Destiny Reset on Twitter and on the web at www.destinyresetpodcast.com. That's your source for all things DRP, including links to subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app of choice. If you're listening over on Apple Podcasts, thanks for the reviews. We got a new one. Who sent us a new review this week?
Frosty Forthright. Thank you so much. And we actually got several 5 out of 5 ratings. Frosty left us a written. iTunes have been acting a little weird. Like it'll say we have 3 or 4 new reviews, and then they'll go away for a few days, and then they'll come back. It's kind of wonky. But if you've left us a review, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Yeah, if you left one and we haven't given you a shout out, it may just be iTunes being crazy. We had 100 reviews disappear last week and then reappear.
Yeah, it's weird.
We don't know.
They came back like
on.
the next day. I don't know. Totally random. This week we had the same thing, just on a way smaller scale. Like 3. It said we had three more, and then they're gone, and we're just like waiting for them to come back. It's weird.
Yep. One day you'll return to us. But anyways, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts and you haven't left us a review, please do, because it helps us get found by more Guardians who want to listen to us chat about Destiny, which means the community gets bigger and they get to hear us talk about chips. And who wouldn't want that?
Of course, right?
Right.
Why not?
So go leave us a
Guardians.
review.
We appreciate it.
Yep.
Dude, I feel like I have gotten more hoarse.
I have too. I can already tell. I'm glad
my
that
voice
we
is
have a short
super
episode, because I don't think I could do 2 hours this week.
Man, I'm telling you, we talked about at the beginning of the show, just kind of like sicknesses going around the house and stuff. I thought I was getting like a second sinus infection this weekend, but I think it's went away. But I feel like I need to relax my voice here and go play maybe some Spider-Man.
Yeah, let Peter Parker do the talking.
Yeah,
he likes to talk.
Let that go down. Ah, dude. All right. Well, I'm sure we'll have plenty more to report on all this stuff next week, guys.
Oh, absolutely.
As usual, until next reset, have fun playing Destiny 2, and take care, Guardians.